Markets rebound and Apple's looking peachy this Thanksgiving week. Let's talk to Reuters correspondent Ernie Scheider. Ernie, let's look at the broader markets here because everybody is up over 1% after a rough week last week.
You know, very positive sign that we might be getting closer to something of a deal with the fiscal cliff.
That's
right. This past weekend on a lot of the Sunday talk shows, a lot of congressional Republicans and Democrats were sort of hinting that a deal could happen. You know, President Obama making the rounds with different corporate leaders trying to get a deal in place. This is a big change even from a week ago when on a lot of the Sunday talk shows there was a lot of talk about hinting maybe we'll go over the cliff. So, positive sign.
This is how happy everybody is about the markets actually finally rebounded today. My dad texted me at 5:42 a.m. California time this morning. Dow futures up, NASDAQ futures up. Make sure they all stay up. I'm going to sign that with you, task. Thanks, XO. I said, we're on. He said, great, now I can relax. That's in your hands, Ernie.
All
right, let's take a look at the banks and talk us through this because everybody, see Bank of America is up nearly 4% there. Got some good numbers.
It's no secret that if we went over the fiscal cliff, banks and financials would be one of the worst hit sectors. So they're very positively reacting to this. Bank of America especially because they were upgraded this morning as well. One analyst saying that earnings could triple by 2014. So that's a positive sign across the sector, including for B of A.
All right, some good home builders news as well. Home resales in October unexpectedly rose, and home builder sentiment good as well, and we've got some good numbers there.
Helping across the board. Home resales, especially if you are confident enough to sell your home and perhaps look for a larger home or maybe in a better location, that's great for you, that's great for the seller, that's great for the buyer.
All right, speaking of the fiscal cliff, as you mentioned, news out of Walmart that they're moving up their dividend payouts from January to December in case there isn't a resolution on that and to possibly avoid the tax hikes that would kick in and be fairly significant for those shareholders who would get their dividends in January as opposed to December before the end of the year.
Yes, yeah, this is definitely a big move, and especially from one of the world's largest companies, Walmart, out right now. They're really only moving it back about a week, though. They had been scheduled to do the payout January 2nd. Now it's going to be December 27th. Roughly half of the shares of Walmart are owned by the Sam Walton family. And 2 members are on the board.
Yeah.
Right, so this is definitely sort of a self-serving thing that they're taking right now. It will help sort of the other Walmart shareholders out there, of course. But, we've been sort of interested as well today. Are other large companies going to do something? We're not seeing that yet. I just got off the phone with Dow Chemical. They're saying they're not changing their payout date at all. So, it's such a short change here by Walmart, but obviously such a big move and with political ramifications.
A huge move, just a few days. But, I mean, it could be the difference between paying 0 to 15% taxes to nearly 40% taxes if those Bush tax cuts go away.
It's a big chunk of change.
If it were in January, big chunk of change. All right, let's move on to Apple. Good news out of Apple today. It's kind of been a little bit of the whipping boy where the media and some on Wall Street have turned against it. Is this Tim Cook doing a good job with the new regime? Are their margins being squeezed? But they're up nearly 5% today, still off 20% from their all-time high. But this is coming off of a great piece in Barron's comparing them to Samsung and saying that Apple actually is the better stock to bet on.
Yes, I mean, Barron's did the big deep dive here contrasting the two and sort of came to the conclusion that Apple has more runway, that the stock still has a lot more room to grow, and that the recent pullback was just that, just a temporary pullback. So if you look at a lot of the different products that Apple has put out, especially with the most recent iPad mini, it's proven that it can continue to attract eyeballs, market share, continue to basically get people really interested in what it sells. And when you also look at some of the other newer entries into the market, like the Microsoft Surface, Microsoft has admitted it's stumbled a little bit getting that out there right now. That only helps Apple. So very positive sign for them.
They're still very successful in sucking you into that ecosystem.
Yes.
You're a return customer with the products, but then the sort of trickle down through iTunes and the various other services.
Yes.
And the interesting kind of two-pronged approach where they have the high margins where it comes to iPhones, which is a market that they entered pre-existing, and then the tablet market, which basically they went after market share because they created that market, and they still sell, 2 out of every 3.
And quality is still, they're known for quality, and that certainly helps.
Okay, let's move to the hot spot, and as we do, check out the snaps in the bottom of the screen for more news of the day. These are our kind of silver lining stocks, we have to say, because Lowe's quarterly sales and profit beat, but of course this largely comes due to Superstorm Sandy.
Yes, it's definitely sad. You sort of don't want positive news on this, but people are buying more lumber, more drywall, more hammers, more nails. And because Lowe's quarter ended a few days after the storm made landfall on October 29th, you sort of saw that bit of a bump in these latest results. Lowe's big rival Home Depot, the quarter ended before the storm came, so they said, you know what, we expect our earnings later for this current quarter to be a boost, but we're already starting to see the benefit there.
Right, okay, Lowe's up 6.5% today. Tyson Foods, for a different reason, not the storm, but because of the drought, there was less animal feed, and it was actually animal feed prices up, I should say, and then that made the herd smaller, so there was less meat. So then the prices, of course, soared.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting, right? You know, you have less meat to sell, so your prices go up. You know, Tyson, of course, wants to sell more meat.
Right.
But you know, the same thing happened with farmers as well. There was less corn, so prices went up. So they were benefited by higher prices here. You know, Tyson posted a higher than expected profit, issued a really bullish forecast out right now, and part of the reason is the demand for protein and meat around the world has never been higher. So the drought did help, but also you look at countries like China, like India, with a continued demand for what Tyson offers. So it's nothing but positive.
All right, they're up 9.5% today, Tyson.
Not a small jump.
Not a small jump. Let's close out with Best Buy. We've talked so much about Best Buy, and this story coming out of the New York Post that perhaps the board is considering a lower offer from founder Richard Schultz, who's been looking for months now to take the company private.
Yes, the Post is reporting around $20 a share is the offer that they're considering from Schultz, but this is a busy board, and they've got to figure out what they want to do. So they have a new CEO, Hubert Joly, who was here at Reuters last week, and he mentioned that he wants to bring it up to about margins of about 5% to 6% over time. It's going to take a while to get there. He's doing that. The board is considering this offer from Schultz. We're getting into the middle of the very busy holiday season. People are wondering, can Best Buy have its magic anymore?
Right.
So they've got all of this stuff going on. The board really has to move and move quickly.
Their big strategy for the holiday season, we know, is to price match Amazon, but the stores aren't opening any earlier than anybody else. And I think he's talking about, you know, retraining the staff and maybe, if not coming up with a genius bar, a sort of, you know, smarter than average bar, slightly higher intelligence bar.
We'll find out.
We will find out. Okay, and their earnings out tomorrow.
Yes.
So we'll wait and see.
And Wall Street wants a lot more details on really how Best Buy is going to succeed. So expect that conference call to be very intense.
Absolutely. Okay, Ernie Scheider, thanks so much. Remember, folks, for more news of the day, follow us on Twitter at Reuters Insider and check out our YouTube channel, Reuters.com/ReutersTV. I'm Lisa Bernhard. This is Reuters.